Hello everyone, welcome to Carnivorous Plants Hub. Today I'm going to be showing you how to propagate pings by pulling off their leaves. This is one of the easiest ways to propagate Pinguicula. It's so simple that anyone can do it. I'm going to grab some pullings from the pings you're seeing here. I have my Cyclosecta, my Curly Whirly, the Lawiana amarginata, and the Marilyn Monroe. We're going to use this handy plastic container that I received from Costco. It actually had street tacos in it. Make sure to stick around to the end of the video. I have some pullings that I pulled from my Sethos and Curly Whirly. The Sethos were pulled a couple of weeks ago and the Curly Whirly was about a month ago. I think you'll be surprised by the results in such a short amount of time. Remember, I'm selling Pinguicula Sethos now, along with my pink substrate, as well as the glass, pumice, and even the planters that you'll see here. Head on over to my store to check those out. I have a very limited supply of live pinks for sale. Alright, and real quick before we pull anything, let's get the plastic container I'm using prepped and ready for the leaves. You can use anything that can be lined with a paper towel and covered. We're trying to create a humidity dome. Keeping the pullings wet and humid is extremely important for good strike rate. All pings are different, but I usually get about an 80% strike rate with this method of propagating. Okay, I have my container here. We want to make sure that we line the bottom with paper towels. Paper towels will absorb the water and keep the pullings wet. We never want the paper towel to completely dry out. This is why we actually need to keep it covered so the humidity stays inside the enclosure. Once the bottom of your humidity enclosure is lined with paper towels, we need to spray them down. This is a job for my core gear mister. You want the paper towels to be soaked through, but avoid any puddling of water. We don't want the pullings sitting in puddles of water. This can make them rot and die quickly. When covered, water inside the enclosure like this should stick around for a week or two at a time. Let's start with my Lawiana amarginata. Here's a quick look at some of the small Lawiana amarginata plants that I propagated several months ago. The mother plant is actually kept in a windowsill, so it's a bit greener than the pullings that are growing under the grow light, like the ones that you see here. Sometimes with pings, you can grab a couple of the pullings from the top of the plant without disturbing it. However, it's much easier to get pullings when you're repotting them or if you're pulling the plant up. Pings are extremely delicate. Every time you grab them, there's a chance that they could fall apart. So you really want to be as careful as possible if you're going to lift the ping up and grab your pullings from the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and pull this one up and see if I can get some pullings from the underneath. This also allows me to clean off some of the old dead leaves underneath. I'm going to repot this one today, so it helps to clean it up as much as possible. Here we go, the first pulling, a nice healthy leaf. If you can pull from the bottom, it helps not ruin the aesthetic of the plant. The leaves at the top can leave gaps and make it not as attractive. Pulling from the bottom can prevent that a little bit. I really like to get all the dead growth off. It helps keep the plant a little bit healthier. Once you have all the pullings you want, you can place them in your tray. How you place them really doesn't matter that much, just make sure that they're all spaced out a little bit. The growth is going to come out of the pointy part of the leaf, where it was attached to the main plant. I like to try and have this part pointing in the air, but I've seen them grow pretty effectively even with it pointing straight down, so I don't think that it really matters that much. And before we move on to the Cyclosecta, let me just repot this Lawiana amarginata real quick. Ah yes, there we go. Just beautiful. Here are the Cyclosecta. These have some really amazing color. The leaves are green on the inside, then turn to a dark blue color on the outside toward the leaf. The blending of the green and the blue often give them a purple hue. We're going to use the same tactic here. Let's grab them, separate them, and pull the leaves. While I'm doing this, I wanted to thank you for being here. Make sure to pour some water on the like button and subscribe to help my channel grow. My dream has always been to start my own carnivorous plant nursery someday, and I'm getting closer and closer to that dream, all thanks to your support. Head on over to my store for different kinds of carnivorous plant substrates, including pings. I also have some pings for sale right now. Thank you again for being here. I really appreciate it. Now let's go ahead and get back to this Cyclosecta. There we go. Now that I have some nice leaves that I pulled from the Cyclosecta and cleaned some of the dead growth off of the bottom, let's go ahead and move on to the Curly Whirly. This one is a little bit easier and a bit more fun. Since the leaves are visible from the top, I don't have to uproot this plant. I can just grab them easily and pluck them off. This makes the process so much easier. Make sure when you're pulling these leaves off that you keep a good grip on the main plant. Sometimes you can uproot it on accident when you pluck a leaf off. Ping root systems are shallow and the plants usually don't have a great grip on the substrate. So it's important to make sure that you keep just a small, light grip on the plant while you're plucking these off. Okay, I think that's enough pullings from the Curly Whirly. Let's go ahead and move on to the Marilyn Monroe. I hate to even touch this plant as it's just so beautiful and delicate, but I really want to get some of the pullings, so we just need to pull them up and get underneath. There we go. Let's clean off some of that substrate and see if we can get that first leaf off. Okay, the first leaf has been plucked. I'll grab a couple more before I move on to the other one. These leaves are larger and they don't grow as vigorously, so I have to just grab 2 or 3 from each plant. I love the way that these look, and I want to try to avoid making them look not as beautiful. Okay, a couple more leaves from the second Marilyn Monroe, and then we'll go ahead and move on. Okay, let's take a quick look at these pullings. And remember, I'm going to show you some 2-week and 1-month results here in just a couple of minutes, so make sure and stick around. There we go. The pullings look great. I'm just going to move them around a little bit and pull off some of the dead stuff that clung on. Look how beautiful these look. Hopefully within a few weeks, we'll start to see some new growth shooting up on these leaves. I'm going to go ahead and give them one more light misting before putting the lid on. Make sure to mark which cuttings are which. I'm documenting this with video, so it's not as important for me personally. If I don't video my pullings though, I always make sure to mark them, especially if they have a mix in the same humidity dome. It's really easy to get these confused, especially after a few weeks they kind of lose their color and shape, so sometimes it can be hard to know which is which when they're really young. Okay, and then real quick before I show you the 2-week results, let me show you how you can get your hands on some amazing ping cultivars. I'm so excited to be teaming up with California Carnivorous. They are one of the most experienced and knowledgeable carnivorous plant nurseries in the entire world. They have a massive selection year-round of all types of carnivorous plants. There will definitely be something in their nursery that you fall in love with. On top of that, they have been generous enough to offer my viewers an exclusive 10% discount on their order when they enter Bug Eater at checkout. That's BUGEATER, Bug Eater. I have links in the description and the pinned comment, so you can head on over and pick out the perfect carnivorous plant to add to your collection. You know you deserve it. Let's go ahead and head on back to the video. Okay, the moment you've been waiting for. Let's see some results. Here are my Sethos pullings I did a couple of weeks ago. You may have seen my Pinguicula repotting video. I repotted and separated a ton of pink Sethos. I was able to get a lot of fresh leaf pullings. Here are the results just after a couple of weeks. You can see that most of these leaves have new growth coming off of them. A few of the leaves died before a strike could happen, but the majority of them are growing new pings already. You can even see the small root system starting to develop. I do have this one freak pulling that has already grown into a full ping right here. This one is ready to be moved to a planter. Full leaves and root system have already grown. This is not a typical result. It's an absolute anomaly. They don't typically grow that fast. It really is pretty cool though. And then real quick, I pulled 3 Curly Whirlies about a month ago. I put them in this little humidity planter with a bit of substrate in the bottom, just to see if it would take. One is definitely growing some new growth, and the other 2 look like they could be starting to take off any day. These ones are about a month old, but this is important to see so that you can highlight that different pings have different time frames in which the new strikes will happen. So just be really patient with these. As long as the leaf is alive, there's a chance that it could still strike and create a new ping. And real quick, let's talk about lighting and water needs. My pullings are under my Barina grow lights for about 12 hours a night. They aren't particularly close as they don't need strong lights at this stage. They're probably about 14 to 16 inches away from the light. For water, make sure you're only using distilled, RO, rain, or pure water. The minerals in tap water can definitely kill your leaf pullings. Keep the paper towel moist, never let it dry out. Do not water so much that it puddles, however. The water should stick around for at least a week before you need to water again. Make sure whatever enclosure that you're using has a tight seal. If possible, I like to pull the lid off every day for like 30 minutes. This helps keep them aired out a little bit. You might have to water them a bit more often if you do this, which is just fine. Make sure to let me know if you have any questions in the comments. This is very easy and anyone can propagate with leaf pullings. Make sure to check the video popping up on the screen right now. It's how to pot up and separate pings. Also, make sure to subscribe so you can see my next update on all of these pullings. I'll also show you how to transfer them from the enclosure to the substrate when the time is ready. Thank you so much, and I hope to catch you in my next video. Bye.